The courtroom froze as the gavel struck, twice. Judge Amy Coney Barrett's eyes narrowed at the woman walking to the stand. With a dismissive glance, she turned to the court clerk. "Is this the defense counsel?" "You're sure?" The gallery chuckled softly. The woman in the powder blue suit didn't flinch. Pam Bondi, composed and silent, took her place before the bench. "Ms. Bondi," Barrett said coldly, "we run a tight ship here. You will address the bench only when asked. This is not Florida." The words landed sharp. Pam didn't respond. Not yet. Her fingers calmly flipped through her notes, her eyes scanning the room. Everyone watched, waiting for her to shrink. She didn't. Before we continue, hit that subscribe button, turn on your notification bell to get notified for more, and share this with your friends. Where are you watching from? Tell us in the comments. We love seeing how far our stories travel. This case wasn't just about corporate fraud. It was a battle of legacy, pride, and power. Judge Barrett, towering in reputation, had made it clear. She wasn't fond of Bondi's flashy Florida record or her media presence. What she didn't know was this wasn't Pam's first courtroom ambush. "Proceed," the judge said flatly, waving her hand. Pam stood, heels clicking softly against the floor. "Thank you, Your Honor," she said, voice low but deliberate. "I move to dismiss the prosecution's motion under Rule 12(b)(6). The prosecutor scoffed. "Of course she does. The defense wants to pretend there's no evidence when our data audit clearly shows." "Mr. Clay," Pam interrupted, still not looking at him. "You said data audit. Which dataset are you referencing?" "The transaction log for Eden Tech. March 2022. Pam nodded. "You mean the one generated after the security breach? The one flagged by your own forensic IT team for potential falsification?" The room stiffened. Barrett's gavel struck again. "Ms. Bondi. No grandstanding." Pam leaned slightly forward. "Just facts, Your Honor. I have an affidavit here, from Agent Ruiz of the Cybercrimes Division, confirming the prosecution's primary evidence was compromised. With the court's permission, I'd like to enter it into the record." Barrett paused. She wasn't expecting this. "Enter it," she muttered. As the clerk took the document, whispers started in the gallery. Judge Barrett adjusted her glasses, visibly irritated. "I'll remind you, Ms. Bondi, this is a federal court, not a press room. We don't perform for an audience." Pam smiled slightly. "Neither do I, Your Honor. I perform for the truth." The prosecution scrambled. Clay was flipping papers, mumbling. His assistant whispered something, eyes wide. Pam stepped forward again. "Your Honor, while the prosecution focused on numbers, they ignored motive. They claimed my client laundered funds, yet Eden Tech's own logs show a voluntary capital transfer to a Caribbean R&D partner 3 months before the alleged offense." Barrett looked annoyed. "We'll get to that. Let's stay on the motion." "I'm staying on it, Your Honor," Pam said, "because their entire charge stems from transactions that occurred after the account credentials had been stolen. And the government knew. They knew and continued prosecution." She turned to the jury, then back. "This isn't negligence. It's malicious prosecution." Barrett straightened. "That's a bold accusation." "Not an accusation," Pam replied. "A fact. I have here a subpoenaed email from the DOJ's Internal Compliance Office, stating, 'We may be pursuing the wrong entity, but the optics favor conviction.' Dated June 12th. Barrett's hand froze mid-air. The prosecution tried to object, but she silenced them with one look. "Approach the bench," she said sharply. Both lawyers approached. Barrett lowered her voice. "Where did you get that email?" "It was leaked to a journalist who forwarded it to my office," Pam said calmly. "I had it verified before bringing it here. It checks out." The judge sighed. For the first time that day, she looked shaken. Back at the bench, she tapped her gavel but hesitated to speak. "Court will recess for 20 minutes. I need a moment in chambers." As the room emptied, Pam sat back, quietly organizing her notes. She'd come prepared, not just legally, but mentally. She knew the pressure, the condescension, the games. She didn't flinch because she had nothing to hide. 20 minutes passed. Then 40. Then 60. When Barrett returned, her tone had changed. This court acknowledges new evidence presented by the defense. In light of these documents, the prosecution's case is on unstable footing. I am placing this case under immediate review. Defense's motion to dismiss is. The door slammed open. A U.S. Marshal whispered something urgently in the judge's ear. Pam stood. Something felt off. Barrett looked stunned. There's been a formal complaint filed against the DOJ's lead investigator on this case by his own agency. Murmurs broke out. Pam turned to the gallery, meeting eyes with the young entrepreneur she was defending, Jason Wells, falsely accused, nearly bankrupt. He blinked in disbelief. The judge continued, more subdued now. In light of this development, I am recusing myself pending a full federal audit. Another twist. Nobody expected that. The bailiff called order. Barrett stood rigid, then exited, without a word to Pam. Later that week, the media exploded. Not because of the recusal, but because Pam Bondi had done what most thought impossible, cornered the system using nothing but facts, precision, and nerve. A former judge from Miami summed it up best on national TV. Everyone thought she was just a flashy face. Turns out, she's the scalpel you never see coming. Moral lesson. Never judge a book by its cover, or a lawyer by her lipstick. In a society quick to stereotype, true skill reveals itself not in shouting, but in sharp, quiet conviction. Intelligence has no look, and justice belongs to those who prepare for it, not those who pretend to own it.